Please like my videos, please subscribe to my channel, and please press the bell icon so that you get to know when my latest video has come. And to learn more and to find a video relevant to you, please do check out my videos list. Hello, namaskar and adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. Various areas of our lives are very important. Our reputation in society is very important. The financial background or the financial strength that we have is important. Our health is very important. Our career is also very important. However, the backbone of all of this is relationships, and one of the key relation that we have is the relationship that we have with the spouse and a domestic life. By being born in a certain ascendant, the dynamics of the signs of a particular house cannot be negated, and those will play a part. So if the 7th house is ruled by Mars, then the Mars or the Aries energy or the Scorpio energy, whatever the sign is, will come into the picture. Today let's talk about how being born in a different ascendant will give you what dynamics of relationships and how do we look at it, specifically keeping in mind the 4th, 5th and 7th house energies which play a part in our relationships, specifically related and more related to our domestic life. Now for Aries ascendant native, we can see that the complementary energies or the opposite house or the 7th house energies are that of Libra, and the 4th house is ruled by Cancer, whereas the 5th house is ruled by Leo energies. So during our romantic phase, or how do we date and how do we involve ourselves in romance, will be more related to the Leo energies, which means that we will try and shine in front of our would-be's, which would mean that we will try and leave a good impression on them. We'll try and showcase a character of high respect, and also trying to leave a mark in front of or to our partner or to a probable partner, and try and use the brightness that we have or the status that we have or the pride that we have or sheer magnificence that we have of how we look or how we do. And so we will try and leave a mark to influence them. So the influencing energies is that of brightness, of shining, and we'll try to shine in front of our probable spouses and through that influence them and through them attract them in our lives. However, once we get into a committed relationship, the challenge for us is how do we balance that energy vis-a-vis what sign rules the 7th house. Here for an Aries ascendant native, the 7th house is ruled by Libra. So the dynamic and the challenge for an Aries ascendant native is to, one, try and create a balance between what is the need for you and what is the need for the partner, for the spouse. Then what is the need in terms of the relationship being stable. So looking at what are the, not only just the physical needs but also the emotional needs of the person are very important, and trying and keeping a balance between how much of a contribution you do in the house and how much of a contribution the partner does is important. For an Aries ascendant native, because the main mannerism is the high energy and even maybe temper and anger, so it's also important that you balance what kind of a temperament you demonstrate in the household, especially in a relationship. If you allow your energies to overpower the energies of the spouse, or try and exert your influence over the spouse and not involve or allow the spouse or the partner to have his or her say, then obviously this is going to have a challenge. There's going to be a problem. So the main challenge for an Aries ascendant native and to have a more stable and a loving marriage is to have a balance in terms of your needs and that of the spouse. However, what is the situation of the 4th house, which is the house for domestic happiness and mental peace? Here you have the Cancer energies, which means the more you nourish, the more you support the domestic environment, the more you support and care for, and to an extent even pamper the relationship, pamper the partner, take care of his or her needs, and show that you are there, you are supportive, and You nourish the relationship through being mushy, through being more sensitive, through being more caring, to show that you are available and you're there. And try and create a household which is more cozy, which is more comfortable. Through that you will be able to attract more domestic happiness in the household. And this is not just for the spouse alone, for the other members of the family which compose your relationship, either children, or if you have your mother or your elders also staying with you, then the way you nurture the domestic life will be through showing that you care and being more emotionally balanced, and not only allow your emotions to come forth or allow your emotions to be exhibited or demonstrated, but also allow other people to be emotional, other people also to be emotional, and also allow the room to be able to take the emotional challenges or the emotional issues that come forth by somebody being emotional in the relationship. So the main challenge for Aries ascendant native is during the dating period not to overexert and to show too much pride and to show that you are superior in the relationship and that the other person is lucky to have you in your life. Then obviously the dating will go wrong. Even before the relationship starts, the relationship may break. So not to have too much pride, not to try to outshine the partner is important. In your married life, to have a balance between your needs, other person's needs, allow them equal say in what happens or not happens in the house, what to do, what not to do, where to take a vacation, not to take a vacation. So the more balanced it is a more stable environment. And in the domestic peace or in the domestic happiness, be emotional, be supportive, be nourishing, and through that have an overall happy married life, a stable married life and a prosperous married life is the challenge and the dynamic and the opportunity for a Aries ascendant native. For a Taurus ascendant native, the main challenge is the Scorpio energies of the 7th house, and the opportunity during your romance is the Virgo energies, and in your domestic life the energies are of the Sun, the Leo energies. So which means that during the time when you are trying to attract somebody in your life or in your romantic life, generally the Taurus person will be somebody who will be more analytical in choosing the partner and will weigh their pros and cons and see whether the person or the relationship really makes sense, whether they really want to be with this person or not. So they will take their time in making a decision. They will analyze from various angles whether they are happy, whether they think that such a relationship will survive and suffice, and whether they would want to be with this person, and how in general this person really serving them from a relationship point of view. However, if they are too analytical, you will also find that Taurus people will also find that they will run into challenges in trying to be in over analysis, and sometimes initially they may also face issues because of being over selective. And so the challenge for them is try and also know that everybody will come with their own strengths and weaknesses and see what serves you best and what works for you best. This is also important because the 7th house energies are the Scorpio energies, which shows that there will be certain degree of magnetic attraction that the Taurus ascendant person may end up seeing in the partner, and being too attracted to the partner, sometimes the analysis of how they pick up the person may suffer. So sometimes because they are too attracted to a person, they may analyze the person to get the person into their lives rather than analyze them properly, which means being so attracted they will oversee or overlook their problems, overlook their challenges, wanting this person in their life. And so because they overlook these issues during the dating period and then they get in relationship with the Scorpio person, they may find that because of not taking due time to know whether the relationship will really serve them or not, they may face challenges and issues and upheavals, and they may also have a situation where they may also attract jealousy or secretiveness, or think that they know the person very, very less. So while they assume they know the partner enough, they may later on realize, once they get married, that there are certain things of the person which they uncover on a day-to-day basis. And only very deep down in the relationship, after spending enough time, will the relationship really come out to be strong enough and overcome the initial upheavals and challenges of the Scorpio energies. Now, in their married life, in the domestic life, you may also find that because the person that they marry has more magnetic energy and also the Scorpio energies, sometimes they try to overexert themselves in the relationship. And so personality issues may become the order of the day, unnecessary personality issues, and in fact even trying to score points over the partner or push their ideas in the domestic environment, even over the children, and try to become a leader at home becomes a challenge for the Taurus ascendant natives. One of the issues with the Taurus ascendant natives is also how well they are able to not be hurt and not allow the ego to be hurt in a domestic environment, because it doesn't serve them. If they become too arrogant, if they carry too much of pride, assuming it to be self-respect, then they may burn up the result. They burn up the domestic happiness and the happiness of the house. So it's important for a Taurus ascendant native to analyze their partner well during the dating period, during the initial period, where each of them is trying to check each other out and try and see whether this relationship and the person will serve them, and then give the space to the partner to understand them and to invest time to understand them, rather rush into trying to be normal or expecting the relationship to be normal on day one. To give them the space, to give them the time, so that the initial hiccup, the initial upheaval, the initial challenges in the relationship, which a lot of young people go through initially, they settle down, and then eventually allowing room for decision making from everyone, from all sides, rather than overexerting themselves in the relationship, will be the challenge and the dynamic and the opportunity for the Taurus person. If the Taurus ascendant native is able to do that, then they will find that they may have a better married life and a more stable life also. And that is the challenge and the opportunity in relationship for a Taurus ascendant native. For a Gemini ascendant native, what is important is that during the initial period, during the romance period or the dating period, they themselves being a little dual-minded and a little confused of who to be with and who to go with, or who they really want to be with. So during the dating period, they will have to use the opportunity of taking the time to take the decisions, rather than hurrying in the relationship and rushing into the relationship or being confused in the relationship. Many a time the Gemini person, because of having the Libra energies in the 5th house, so during the initial period when both the partners are trying to analyze each other, the Gemini person sometimes tends to be too confused and tends to balance more towards his or her own needs rather than that of the partner. So the initial challenge for the Gemini person would be to truly take time to understand whether the relationship itself is balanced or not, whether both the partners are seeking each other's balance enough in their behaviors, balance enough in their likes and dislikes, balance enough in terms of what their goals are, and so do they truly complement each other or not. If you feel that the partner is not truly complementing you, then getting into a relationship or such a relationship will be a challenge for the Gemini person. If the Gemini person doesn't take time to understand whether the relationship is balanced enough, whether they can gel with each other, and whether the relationship can be taken forward, then obviously it may have a challenge, it may have a problem later on. Now the energies that they have in a relationship is that of the Sagittarius energies, which means that they should give enough freedom and enough space to the partner so that the relationship can really solidify and be stable. So the most important thing for the relationship to truly be flourishing, be prosperous, and to be happy and stable is to give each other space. And so the Gemini person will have to learn to give more space and allow the partner to have more choices, even if they seem to be little adventurous and something which the Gemini person may not like, because the partner may sometimes come across as somebody who is more open-minded, is more liberal, and there may certain things which the partner may want to do which the Gemini person may not like. Now these are potential energies, doesn't mean every person who the Gemini person comes across will be this, but the potential energies will be this, while there may be different manifestation how it is manifesting. So learning to give more space, to respect the choices of the partner, and to allow the room and to try to bring more fun into the relationship, try to do exciting things together, try to do more adventurous things together, so that the marriage is more happy, travel together, meet different people, and to socialize with different people will also bring in more fun and more stability in the marriage. Now the fourth house energies for Gemini person are the Virgo energies. Here the energies of Virgo is also to serve and also to analyze issues of the domestic life from time to time. What this means is to keep an eye open to what the partner needs and to serve the relationship truly from the bottom of your heart, which means rather than to look at what your needs are, if you try and serve the domestic environment more or come across as being more helpful, taking more care and serving the relationship and keeping an eye open to what the partner wants, then the relationship will truly be stable and the relationship will be more happy. So try and give more space to the partner, but on the other hand also keep an analytical eye on whether the relationship is truly going in the right direction, are there any fault lines which are appearing, are there any cracks which are appearing, and is the relationship going downhill. And only when you look at this and you're keeping an eye open and you're doing corrective measures from time to time and bringing in the fun element and doing the balance in the relationship, will the relationship survive, be prosperous and do well in the long run. And that is both the dynamic and the opportunity for the Gemini ascendant native in relationship. For a Cancer ascendant native, the fifth house energies is the energies of Scorpio. So a Cancer person sometimes may be attracted to the magnetic qualities and the secretiveness of the Scorpio person, and sometimes even to the ups and downs or upheavals to the opposite person, and may be attracted to nurture, to help, to care for. And in trying to care for a nurture person who seems to be needing more help or seems to be different or has that magnetic attractive energy, a Cancer person may be attracted to the Scorpio person during the dating period. However, because there is a certain degree of upheavals and obstacles in the dating period also, which may later on, if not handled with care, manifest itself in the relationship also, because here are Capricorn energies ruled by Saturn, which means if you allow upheavals in the relationship or the romantic or the dating period to continue into the stable and committed relationship, then there may be challenges, because Saturn energies means that, specifically Capricorn energies means that the Cancer person should be able to see beyond his or her emotional nature and emotional needs and try and stabilize the relationship beyond what the emotional upheavals may come or what the ups and downs in the continued romantic nature of the relationship should be. If not, if the Cancer person allows their own emotionality to overpower them and overcome how they approach the relationship, then the romance will go through ups and downs, upheavals, or even may die down, and the stability of the marriage will be affected. So to pay attention, due attention to the married partner, to be committed, to be truly committed, and not depend on external factors for their emotional needs. Sometimes the Cancer person may be too bottled up in their own needs and may not take care of the needs of the partner. And so, not coming across as somebody who's very duty bound and the partner appearing to be cold, Cancer person may end up becoming more dutiful and feel responsible for the relationship rather than the relationship truly flourishing. So the challenge for the Cancer ascendant native is, while you're duty bound, but you also try and keeping the magnetism alive in the relationship is important. Keeping the attraction in the relationship is important. So dressing up well, taking care of themselves, taking care of their health, coming across as more emotionally attentive to the other person's need also is important for a Cancer ascendant native. And in the relationship, coming across as supporting the partner also, so that any of the partner doesn't look outside of the marriage for the emotional needs and not in the relationship only because of a sense of duty or responsibility is important. Because the fourth house energies of the Cancer person are the Libra energies, which says that till you achieve the balance between your needs, your emotional needs, the partner's emotional needs, the balance between your needs and the needs of the other family members in the household, the domestic happiness will not happen. So the domestic happiness will keep only when you keep the romance alive, the romantic, the secretive and surpriseful romance alive, and are not only duty bound to your own emotions but duty bound to the other person's emotions also, and take due care and take it as a duty to take care of the opposite partner also, and through that balance you will achieve your domestic happiness. And that is the challenge and opportunity both for Cancer ascendant native in the relationships. The main challenge for a Leo ascendant native, especially during their dating time, is that they may be attracted by the sheer fun-loving person or the adventure-seeking person or the person who looks to be different from the others, who's pushing the boundaries and gives the adrenaline rush to the king and tries to make them feel important. The king or the Leo personality feels important by the attention that comes to them through this person who is generally looking to break the shackles. The romance that the Sagittarius with the Sagittarius energies is a person who is not ready to be shackled in chains and not ready to accept anybody else's sovereign over them. So when the Leo personality gets attention from a fun-loving, witty, a very liberal, modern thinking, balanced personality, then they are obviously attracted to such a person. And the Leo person's own personality feels enhanced and they like to be with a person who stands out from the crowd, who seems different from the others, and through that they also feel good about themselves, that I have such a person who is very fun-loving, who's good-looking, who's adventurous, and there may be many suitors to this person, yet the person wants to be with me. And so this attraction of the fun, witty, adventurous person leads to a commitment from the king, from the Leo ascendant person. However, the energies of the 7th house are the Aquarius energies. Here, what is more important for the Leo ascendant person is to not to be bogged down by the small nitty-gritties on a day-to-day basis and not take things too personally, which the king may take, which the Leo personality may take as an insult to them, as a slight to them, and to look at the big picture which the Aquarius energies represent. So look at the big picture, look at the relationship being important, look at the companionship being more important, rather than looking at their own personality issues and looking at their own slight and taking their self-respect, taking their pride and arrogance to be self-respect and trying to fight with the other person or the partner over small issues. So unless the Leo personality thinks big, looks at the big picture, looks at the overall happiness of the family, which is represented by the 4th house, and ready to set aside certain things which are personally, in person, and comes to a compromise and is ready to balance the needs, looking at the big picture, then the marriage survives, the relationship survives. The fourth house energies for the Leo ascendant person is the Scorpio energies, which means if you are not ready to look at the big picture, if you are not ready to balance between and ignore small issues in the household, in the relationship, then the fourth house energies become the energies of Scorpio, which means upheavals, ups and downs, issues. And because you're too much into your own self, the partner begins to not keep you in the loop on anything and everything, and will hide their own emotions from you. And so the Leo person may not then feel aligned emotionally to the person, because the person is now going into their shell of their own and not ready to share with the Leo person, because the partner feels that there's no point talking to the Leo ascendant person anymore, because he can't think beyond himself. So the challenge for the Leo personality is to be able to balance the relationship, look at the big picture items, look at the larger picture in the relationship, look at everybody's needs rather than their own, and be able to look beyond themselves. Then the upheavals of the challenge and the challenges of the Scorpio energies in the household will reduce, and there will be more stability, more intimacy also in the relationship. So the Leo person will also have to pay attention to the intimacy needs of the partner to keep the marriage alive, look at the big picture, and to keep the fun alive in the relationship for the relationship to really do well. If you don't keep the fun alive, if you are not able to look at the big picture, and if intimacy suffers, then the relationship of the Leo person will go through challenges, will go through ups and downs, and that is both the opportunity, dynamism, and so this is both the opportunity and dynamism in relationship for a Leo ascendant native. For a Virgo ascendant native person, one of the few things that they look for in a partner is also during the dating period, they look at the partner with the Capricorn energies. So the Virgo person, in being a little bit of, so the Virgo person being a little analytical in terms of their choices, they also will try to analyze the partner in terms of how disciplined they themselves are in their lives, whether they keep time or not, whether they are committed to the Virgo person or not, whether they truly show interest in the Virgo person or not, how much they are ready to go the distance, how much they are ready to take care of the Virgo person, how well they take care of themselves, how orderly they are. And with an over analytical eye, the Virgo person will make their choices. And during the dating period, they will analyze the person in a lot of factors before they say yes to the person, and the relationship may happen. However, the challenge for the Virgo person, once the committed relationship comes about, is that the complementing energy for the stable marriage, for a prosperous marriage, for a happy married life, are the Pisces energies, which means that rather than allow too much duty-bound, perfectionist approach to marriage, which the Virgo person may expect in a partner, allow the relationship, allow the partner to flow. If you don't allow the relationship to flow, if you don't allow the relationship to be imaginative and creative, and if you yourself are not very creative and imaginative in the relationship, how to keep each other happy, how to have more balance in the relationship, how to look at each other's needs, how to look at the emotional factors in the relationship, and how to show more commitment and loyalty in the relationship, the marriage may end up creating issues and having problems even of stability. And because the fourth house energies for the Virgo ascendant native are the Sagittarius energies, which means that in being imaginative and being creative and allowing more room to maneuver, you will bring in more fun element in the relationship, you will bring in more fun element in the house, and you should also be ready to give more space to the person and the relationship to flow out of the boundaries, the conventional boundaries that the Virgo person looks for in the relationship. And when you are allowing that space, you are allowing the creativity and imagination, and use your imagination and creativity in bringing in more fun element, in bringing in more balance, in doing things more together, then the fun element in the domestic environment will also happen. So be a little adventurous, push the boundaries, go out on a sudden date, plan your romance, plan your outings, and do more of fun elements, push the boundaries, and don't be shackled too much by the conventional rules of relationship. Then the Virgo person will find that their relationship is also very imaginative, very creative, will be able to overcome the yins and yangs and the currents of and the issues of relationship, and the household will be more adventurous, more fun loving, and will also attract more prosperity and better luck in the relationship. And this is the challenge for the Virgo ascendant native in relationship as well as the opportunity. The dynamics and the opportunity for a Libra ascendant native is that during the dating period and during the initial romance time, they will be more attracted towards the partner with the liberal eye, with a big thinking picture eye, rather than look at nitty-gritties. And because they are very balanced themselves, they will overlook the small issues or small challenges in the personality of the partner, and they will look at the big picture that in a relationship small things are not so important and they can easily be ironed out later. And if they get into a relationship without looking at the small things, which initially may not be very welcoming, but because they are in love with the person and they want to be with the person, so, and they are more liberal and they are more balanced, they may end up getting into a committed relationship. However, because the energies of the 7th house here, energies of the relationship is the Aries energy, which means sometimes because of these issues not being ironed out earlier or being overlooked earlier, then there can be anger, aggression and personality issues in the marriage, because of which there could be arguments, there could be sudden rough decisions to not be with each other, not to talk to each other, even sulk, and thinking that the other person really doesn't care. They think only about themselves and they rush into their own decisions without talking, without taking the Libra person along. And so over a period of time, the balance the Libra person sees tends to go on towards one side, and hence with the same energy that they have rushed into the relationship, overlooking these small areas, assuming that they will iron out, with the same energy, with the same aggression, they may all even rush out or think of rushing out, or the tendency is to rush out. If they ignore the small things, continue into the relationship and continue to look at the big picture and give time to iron out the small differences, and with space, with time, and looking at the larger picture of what the relationship is about and what the objective of the relationship is, and to make goals together and take goals which they will work towards and iron out the small differences with over a period of time, giving each other the space, then the 4th house stability of Capricorn will come into the relationship. The relationship will be more stable, the relationship will go like clockwork, there won't be upheavals, there won't be challenges, and it will be very difficult for anybody outside of the relationship to really shake this relationship, to break this relationship. So investing time to iron out differences, giving time, not rushing into any issues, but trying to iron out differences and giving each other the space with a strong willpower, with the energy of the ram, and to ensure that the goal in the marriage is stability and togetherness and companionship, rather than the small issues which seem to eat into the relationship. Then the 4th house domestic happiness will come through there will be more stability and there will be more issues ironed out, and this will be a very, very long-term relationship. And these are both the opportunities as well as the dynamism and the dynamics for a Libra ascendant native in his or her relationship state. The dynamics and the opportunity for a Scorpio person in their relationship starts with during their romance period or during their dating period, the energies of Pisces in the 5th house, which means during the choosing of their partner, they like the creative and the imaginative and the positive thinking Pisces person. What they sometimes tend to overlook is that the Pisces person sometimes looks at everything with too much of positivity, with rosy colored spectacles, which means the Pisces person himself or herself is overlooking the issues that the Scorpio person may be carrying and what baggage the Scorpio person is bringing and their own baggage that they are carrying. So being very, very creative, very, very imaginative and being ultra positive and living in the ideal world, they assume that the partner assumes that they can work out anything and everything under the sun with the Scorpio person. And so because the Scorpio person also has strong water energies, fluid energies, they go along with the open-minded, the liberal, the creative, the imaginative, the romantic idealism that the Pisces person brings in. But once they get into the relationship, what is required is the stubbornness to be in the relationship rather than to get out. So holding steadfast to each other, allowing time to stabilize, allowing and giving the room to each other, rather than being too stubborn about what they own want, what they themselves want, and not allow the materialism of Taurus to overcome the romance and the passion in the relationship is important. Because if trying to be too stubborn of their own needs and what their own challenges are and refusing to look at the needs of the partner and closing their eyes to the needs of the opposite partner, tends to then brings in the outsiders in the relationship which the Aquarius energies has. The Aquarius energies is of the general society and friends. So then you may find that outsiders, friends or well-wishers get into the marriage trying to resolve it or trying to become the conduit or go between you to resolve issues. And many times the marriage is left to how every time outsiders come and resolve the issues or help the couple to be together, rather than both of them having the stability that the Taurus energy brings and find common ground rather than look at what they are getting out of the relationship. When you look at only your need, then you become materialistically, you look at the materialistic need of the relationship rather than the companionship need of the relationship, and hence you tend to become, you look at the big picture in the relationship, that the relationship is important and you continue. What is important is that if you bring in the stability in the relationship, if you hold on to each other steadfastly and not allow too much of material needs of each other to overpower the dynamics or the romance in the relationship, then the big picture in the relationship will be to wanting to be with each other, and the small things will be overlooked and that will be set aside, and then you will attract the gains, and you may also attract societies less involvement in the relationship, and rather than depend on outsiders to sort out and to help you to remain in the relationship together, you will find that you have each other and you don't need anything more beyond the understanding, the stability which the Taurus energies represent. And that is both the dynamics and the challenges and the opportunities for a Scorpio ascendant native in his or her relationship. The dynamics and the opportunities and the challenges for a Sagittarius ascendant native in their relationship is that during the initial dating period, because they themselves are very adventurous, they are very outgoing, and they like the adrenaline rush and the fun element in life, they also get overwhelmed by the Aries energies of the partner. The partner sometimes come with a lot of attraction, will come with a lot of logic and strong willpower, and with a lot of openness and the liberal attitude also which the Aries person brings in, and the sheer energy which the Aries person brings in, the Sagittarius person may be swept out of their feet. The good looks, the charm, and the strong vibrant energy of and the dynamism of the Aries energy may sweep the Sagittarius person off their feet, and they may choose to be in a relationship with this energy or what the romantic energy brings. However, the challenge for them is once you get into the relationship is becoming dual-minded or becoming or developing a doubt whether you want to be in this relationship or not, or whether you got into the relationship with the right person or not. And because of this dual-mindedness, the boredom also sometimes creeps into the Sagittarius person who loves his or her freedom and wants to break the shackles. Because the Sagittarius energy is the outgoing, go-getting energy of the adrenaline types and the fun-loving and breaking boundaries energies rather than being bogged down. So many times not communicating and having a dual-mindedness or allowing doubts to create in the relationship is detrimental to the union. What is more important for them is that use the communication energies which the Gemini energies bring and talk and communicate with the partner more often and try and create the balance between what their own needs are in needing space, not wanting to be bogged down, not wanting to be chained or shackled, but yet at the same time be willing to give the assurance and the confidence to the partner to not be dual-minded, not to have doubts, not to doubt the decision of the marriage or the union, and through communication, through addressing their challenges, through sitting down and talking to each other and ironing all the differences, they also bring in or rekindle the intimacy and the romance in the relationship. If they do that, then they will find that there will be a lot of creativity, there will be a lot of imagination of where to go, how to do things, where to go for a holiday. They may want to travel together, they may want to enjoy new things together, they want to be more creative and imaginative in how to bring more fun in the domestic life while giving each other the space. But if they don't do that, then the emotional upheavals which the Pisces sign may bring, the emotional ups and downs that the Pisces sign may bring, may hamper the happiness at home, may hamper the domestic peace at home. So it is a challenge for a Sagittarius person and the companion that they communicate regularly, they don't rush into initial dating because of just the sheer energy which the dating period brings in, which the romance brings in, but to talk, to communicate before they get into a relationship and continue to talk, continue to be on the same page so that the imaginative creativity and the fun-loving energy of Pisces comes in rather than the over-emotionality of Pisces which may lead to the downfall. And that is the dynamism and the opportunity in relationship for a Sagittarius ascendant native. The dynamics, the opportunity and the challenge for the Capricorn person is that during the initial dating period or when they are choosing the partner who they want to be with, many times the strong-headedness, the strong willpower and the materialistic approach of the Taurus person may sweep them off the feet, because the Capricorn person is looking for stability rather than just a fun relationship, so that they can have a stable relationship for the future. So they assume they take for granted the strong willpower of Taurus ascendant native and the materialistic approach as something which will give them the stability, and will also have stability in intimacy, stability in romance, stability in the resources that are needed for a happy married life. However, sometimes they ignore that these Taurus person can be too stubborn and be too bullheaded, and so in the marriage life sometimes when the stability is missing or there is too much of bullish energy which the partner brings in, there may be emotional upheavals, there may be one partner who's nourishing the other more rather than a balance in the relationship. Because the Capricorn person is very duty bound and wants to go with rules and regulations and so society norms, so initially they tend to keep the balance in the relationship and the stability in the relationship even at their own cost. However, over time they realize that the emotional upheaval for them is too much. They are nourishing the relationship more than the partner, and so they feel let down, they feel cheated. And so then the arguments, the aggression that the Aries energy of the 4th house brings in may disturb the house environment. If the partners are ready to sit down and ready to sort out the differences, the partner is ready to let go of their bullishness or their stubbornness and even to an extent their arrogance and ego, and set aside the personality differences, then they will find that they are able to nurture each other more. There is more happiness, they are strongly connected to each other emotionally, and the goals that the Aries energy brings in, they are together able to see the same goal and they move toward the same goals, and they have common goals that they want to address and common goals that they want to approach with a lot of intimacy, with a lot of dynamism, with a lot of fire in the relationship. And this fire keeps the stability in the union, keeps them going, brings in the stability not only in the love and the emotional status of the relationship, but also brings in the material prosperity. So for a Capricorn ascendant native, it is important that when they choose their partners, they give enough time to look beyond the strong reassurances that the romantic partner may bring in because of the Taurus energies, and unless they are really very strongly convinced that they are not being too emotional about the relationship, but the relationship truly will serve them, and then they get into the relationship, then they will find that their goals are common and the life is moving in a common path for both the partners and becomes very fruitful or prosperous. And that is both the opportunity and the strength and the dynamics in relationship for a Capricorn ascendant native. For an Aquarius ascendant native, the dynamics and the challenge for them in a relationship is that during the initial dating period, they sometimes get too overawed by the communication ability, by how the partner represents themselves or the attraction of the partner, how suave, how sophisticated they are, how good looking they are, and how through their mannerism, how they carry themselves, they are swept off their feet, and they are swept off with the charm of the Gemini person, of the romantic energy that the Gemini person brings in, and they are charmed by the polished, sophisticated nature of the Gemini personality, and that attracts them to tend to get into a relationship. However, post the relationship, sometimes the Aquarius person finds or comes to know that the relationship seems to be more one-sided, but personality differences coming in between the two. One of the reasons is that one partner may be the one who's acting like a leader or being too pushy in the relationship, which could be either. And because of one partner taking most decisions and one partner calling the shots, there could be more challenges in the relationship, because then the 4th house energies are that of the Taurus, the bullish energies. So your stubbornness creeps in for the other person who feels that I am not getting my say, I am not getting a good deal, I am being pushed around, and this is not what I got into a relationship for. And so the initial period of romance, sophistication, suave nature which floored the Aquarius person seems to be set aside by the pride, ego, personality differences now that creep into the relationship and tends to disturb the relationship and disturb the stability in the union. What is required for both the partners is to set aside the ego differences, the personality differences, and look at the big picture, look at the stability of the marriage, and try and be stubborn about being together rather than being stubborn about choices which they want to run individually. If they have a strong willpower, if they also pull in both the ideas together, pull in even their resources and set their differences aside, their personality issues aside, and with this stubborn doggedness follow the stability required in the relationship and be dogged about it, not wanting to let go about each other, having a strong willpower to be with each other, then they will find that the romance, the charm continues to be in the relationship with each other, and the relationship shines bright without the personality issues of the Leo energies, and with a strong willpower and the romance, the relationship can be very stable and can also be very, very prosperous and can serve them very, very well. And that is both the dynamics and stability, dynamic strength and challenges in relationship for the Aquarius ascendant native. The dynamics and the strengths and the opportunities for a Pisces ascendant native in the relationship is that during the initial part, when they are selecting the partner and during the dating period or their romance life, they tend to be pushed into the relationship by sheer emotionality of how both of them approach the relationship. The Pisces person is a person which is a very fluid energy, and they are very imaginative, they are very, very creative, and they fall for the soft sensitivity, the mushiness and the caring attitude and the supporting attitude of the opposite partner. And because they themselves are watery sign, they get flowed by the strong currents of emotions, and they start to depend on the person for their own emotional needs, and they tend to fall for the person and assume that together, both of them being something to nurture the relationship, it makes sense to come together. However, because the energies of the marriage is the Virgo energies, so they tend to later on, after the emotional honeymoon period has died down, there may be an analytical energy which creeps into the relationship, which means they start to analyze whether they truly serve each other, whether they're truly emotionally close to each other, and they also look at how much of an emotional need of theirs is being served by the other person. Here, more than the material needs that generally may affect some other relations, here they strongly look at whether I am being loved enough, whether I am being cared enough, whether I am being nourished enough. And if they feel with their more analytical eye that they don't find that the relationship is serving, the relationship is balanced, they don't feel that they are cared enough, they are loved enough, they are supported enough, the relationship nourishes them, then the dual-mindedness of Gemini comes in, which means they tend to start doubting whether they want to be in the relationship or not. And so, if they don't work on setting aside the over-analytical ability, but analyze how they can come together, analyze how they can better suit each other, analyze how they can continue to emotionally support each other, and set aside those things which are disturbing the marriage, then through their communication, through sitting down and working on how they can communicate their way to having a stable marriage, and bringing in the love and affection and supportive nature of the Gemini person who's ready to talk out their differences. And so by talking with each other, by being balanced in their need for nurturing, for their need to be supportive, for their need for emotional balance, they will be able to keep the marriage stable, the marriage more long lasting, and the marriage truly nourishing, and the relationship will be a prosperous one and a truly imaginative and creative one, which the Pisces energies also brings. And these are the challenges, dynamics and strengths for a Pisces ascendant native in the relationship. So friends, now that we have talked about what are the relationship dynamics of the 12 sign, these are very, very generic energies. These may need not apply to each one of us. So look into your own marriages, look into your own relationship, what challenges are being brought forth, look into your overall planetary placements and what relationship you are in, because these are not the partners, but these are the actual the current energies or the energies of the currents of the relationship. And so understanding your relationships better through the placement and what is required to keep the relationship alive. Work on your relationship. There is no more important person than your partner, and through working on your relationship, attract the love, affection and the prosperity in the relationship. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation for me, please reach out to me at the links given below. Until some other time with some other video, this is your friend, astrologer and guide Irfan, signing off. Ciao.